One of the reasons I would contend that globalization is giving us positive net benefits is that the act of trading is itself what we call in economics or game theory a positive sum game. If he and I trade, if I want to buy his watch and I offer him 100,000 rupees for it, the only reason he sells it to me is that he values the 100,000 rupees more than he values the watch. The only reason I would give him the 100,000 is I value the watch more. The act that we voluntarily trade made us both richer. We're wealthier. He's got something he values more, 100,000 rupees. I've got something I value more, the watch. One of my friends here tonight is quite upset about the nature of imports into Sri Lanka. The interesting thing is, the one thing that Adam Smith taught us about mercantilism. Now, Adam Smith was arguing against mercantilism in 1776. And what mercantilism was about was having a gold fetish. The kings thought that if we export, we lose gold. Gold is wealth. If we lose our wealth, we're poor. But Adam Smith said, first of all, wealth is not gold. Wealth is the productive capacity of the economy, the productive capacity of the people. What can be produced in the country? That's what wealth is. And the way you expand wealth is by first opening the economy to imports. Because what that does is raise the living standard of your people. If imports come in, all consumers have access to products at lower prices. They have money left in their pocket to spend on local products because now they're paying less for the products that they're importing. Local producers pay less for inputs because they can source the cheapest inputs. That means they can be more competitive because they have to compete, and they're able to compete because they can buy cheaper inputs. Now this takes a bit of doing, obviously, but in general what we discovered is that mercantilism was an economically ruinous program, which, by the way, no one in this audience should have much fondness for, because mercantilism was the seed that sparked colonialism and imperialism. Because they didn't want to send out their gold, they had to come and take colonies around the world. So mercantilism was really the birth, the source of this European colonialism that swept the world. The irony is, since the 1930s, export-led economic growth has been sold to people as a good idea. Now, try it out on your mother or your wife. Go home and say, Mama, you know what I want to do? I want to keep our purchasing power artificially low. I want to be able to get less for my money. In other words, I want to keep the exchange rate artificially low so I can sell more to rich people. She'll throw you out of the house. You say, but no, you didn't hear the second part. I want to make it more expensive for us to buy things from those rich people by keeping the exchange rate artificially low. She'll kill you. Your mother understands economics better than most policymakers do. Export-led economic growth is a ruinous policy. It was in 1776. It is today. Now, it looks like it's working, but Japan was the first success story. What happened to Japan? Until 1989, it looked very good, and then Japan's bubble burst. Japan has not been able to grow above an average of 1.5% since 1989. It's a very long time. Then, Southeast Asia was imitating Japan. They rode along merrily until 1997, and they had their comeuppance. China's playing the same game at the moment. Wait. China's time will be coming. What's happening with globalization is that capital flows are much more important than trade is. In fact, the amount of money used or involved in trading is about 1/10 the amount of money used in international capital transactions. Buying and selling of foreign currencies, buying and selling of foreign securities, buying and selling of international companies, mergers and acquisitions. It's 10 times what the flows are for trade. So this is really the main push behind what we call globalization. So trade is interesting. It's less important than it was 10 or 20 years ago. Now, it also leads to what economists call creative destruction. The brilliant idea that he comes up with, that the rest of us never saw, that provides something for the community that we all value, undermines the comparative advantage that he had in his business. Now, his creativity had a destructive effect. But who benefits from it? His good idea benefits the whole community. Who's hurt by it? He's hurt by it in some of his workers, which are a small group. So, what happens there is that this creative destruction is a positive social force. It's a progression. It adds progressivity to a community. Now, very often what we see, unfortunately, in much of the world, including the United States, is that when this happens, people who feel injured say, I want protection. But the rest of us are saying, we don't want him to be protected, because if he's protected, we don't get his good idea. If we protect him, we destroy the future. Protecting today's jobs destroys tomorrow's jobs. Because protecting today's jobs means that costs remain higher, options and choices remain fewer, and we forego these brilliant new ideas that other people might offer. Stupid policies that the U.S. and the European Union have in agriculture distort global prices. Now, this isn't corporate, this is a government policy, where you see the really serious distortions. These are not the outcome of some corporate cabal, some boardroom decision. These are government policies driven by the special interests of the agriculture of the European Union and the U.S. that have created, they destroy the livelihoods of farmers around the world. They destroy them.